Welcome everyone to this Friday, March. It is March 13th on my side of the world, March 12th, with the two participants that we have with us today. We welcome Jake and Joseph from the band Witherfall. And how are you guys doing tonight?
Lovely.
Yeah, doing good, man.
What side of the world are you on?
I'm in Spain, sir.
Oh, shit. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I think I met you like in 2011. We were doing some interview on in an RV, which sounds a little strange right now, but
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So it
Back
was
then.
funny. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, nothing, man. I gotta be professional and turn my phone off here.
Yeah. So we were kind of talking off air about that. So I had known the White Wizard Fellows for some years, and finally there was an opportunity to interview some of the members in person. And I'd actually been talking to you, I think, through Facebook back and forth before you had joined the band. But then it just so happened that the planets aligned, and I got to see you in Bilbao, and I got to chat to you for a little bit, and I got to talk to Giovanni and John in an RV in the parking lot. So,
Yeah, the planets didn't really quite align on that tour. It was more like a comet being struck into the Earth.
Was that the ice
disaster?
yeah, Iced Earth, Fury UK, and White Wizard, which you and is it Matt from Fury UK ended up going into Iced Earth. Luke,
yeah,
that's his
that's
brother.
crazy. I remember we met Stu and John, and I met Luke. We all met each other on the same day in
wow.
Oakham, which is that was wild. That was a fun run while it lasted. So,
Yeah,
and the band I'm in just ends in some sort of utter disaster. So it's I wouldn't hire me to be in the band.
Are you saying you're the kiss of death for any lineup that you join?
100%. It never fails. So
yeah,
I never
Grim Reaper.
that, actually.
But I'm sure Joseph could speak the opposite to that, because I mean, you guys have been kind of with each other for what, close to a decade between White Wizard and with Witherfall.
Because we're equally temperamental.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Everyone else has been dying.
Yeah, we have a severe curse. I mean, yeah, even Witherfall's cursed. So I don't know who I pissed off in the afterlife at some point. I'll take the blame for that. But yeah, Joseph and I met each other 2012, I think, was when I think that was right before some White Wizard tours. So yeah, almost a decade now.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when I met you, Michael Gremio was singing, and then a few months later, it was funny because I was, I've been in and out of the stuff with Talking Metal for years, co-hosting and doing different things, and then all of a sudden,
Right,
Joseph,
that was the show you were on, Talking Metal. That's right.
Yeah, and then Joseph all of a sudden was on Talking Metal. We're interviewing the singer of White Wizard. It's like, wait a second, I just saw them, and it was Michael Gremio. Who's this Joseph guy? So, the ever revolving door with that band. But Joseph, I kind of got to talk to you because it was one of these things where on an episode of Talking Metal, I was just kind of a bystander, kind of produced a segment, and you got to talk to Mark Striegel for more or less the whole time. It was right after you had left White Wizard, and I remember you were teasing that something big was on the horizon, but we never got to find out what that big thing was. You kind of held us at bay that interview.
Well, it ended up being Witherfall. I forgot. Yeah, I did talk to you guys. I was probably still in England, I think.
It could be.
That was right after the whole shenanigans. I mean,
it was like a week or two after. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was probably in Will Wallner's mom's house, right
Okay.
outside of where Witherfall was formed. We were all over there, just trying to get away from John for a couple days.
Right.
And Jake and I ended up fucking getting wasted and smoking cigars on the English Channel and like discussing like forming our own band where other people couldn't fuck it up so hard.
Right.
Yeah, we could write our own music, and I mean that was the thing from the start, was having no boundaries when it came to songwriting and being like a band like Zeppelin or Queen, but
Right.
our own style, you know. And we that's all we wanted to do. And then again, like Joseph was saying too, on a business side, we were going to run it properly like a business. But yeah, that was all done like at 4 a.m. on the English Channel, and then I got the fuck out of there. I was like, I'm fucking beat down like a dog from this tour. I'm gonna go hibernate somewhere. And I think I wrote Joseph on Facebook and was like, hey man, like how's it going out there? Where are you? And I was like, hey, I have some, you know, like let's get together whenever we all get back to California, and let's start working on some ideas. And shit, I think we had like 3 of the songs from Nocturnes done in one session, because at that point too, we didn't know how we were going to write. Joseph and I just bonded over our love for classical music and music theory and King Diamond. And we, you know, at that point we hadn't really written anything together. And it's sometimes you can have people that are really great musicians, but the chemistry for writing just doesn't work. So it's always kind of a gamble. But yeah, it worked off beautifully.
Which is an interesting point, because, you know, a lot of people think that it's easy, for example, to join a band and, oh, you know, this guy's a great musician, so obviously he's going to be writing this. But in circumstances that the two of you have been in, you guys have come into established bands, and it isn't always the case where you get to write or dictate things, and you kind of have to play along by the rules that are established by whoever is the main person or the main people running the band, you know?
Yeah. That's why we formed our own band. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's to not have control over the situation is, I mean, you know, it's there's a balance to it. You know, there's a fuck ton of stress when it's Joseph and I doing it ourselves, and not just being like, well, whatever, just, you know, have my plane ticket here and I'll show up and play your fucking songs, rather than having like, you know, because at points that's easy, but then other points it's like you have no control over a situation, you have no control over business dealings, you have no control over the color of the artwork and all this stuff, and you know, so it's like that got frustrating, you know.
Right. So it, I guess it goes to kind of lend itself that you guys really want to be hands-on with this, from, you're saying, artwork, from making sure that all the merch, I mean, you guys, with each of the releases, you guys have put out like just ridiculously cool, like colored vinyl and different like packages for merch and stuff. So you guys have been involved with that 100%.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, everything. I don't think there's anything we're not hands-on about. And we're pretty fortunate though, when we did end up with Century Media over in Europe, like they really love their vinyl, and they really take those layouts seriously. And you know, whatever, you know, it's like we're in a playground, like whatever we want. Oh, you want a leaf on your fucking the second side, on the fourth side of the fucking vinyl? Okay, sure, we'll play along. Oh, it's got to be a double vinyl. Can you just cut out one song? No, that's okay. We like it. It's all good. I mean, yeah. Shit, what are there, like 10 colors for this record? Something ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a ton. And the cool thing too about CM is whoever they use for like their mastering for the vinyl, it actually sounds good too. You know, sometimes you put on vinyl from reissue stuff. Yeah, Jim did that. Yeah,
they did,
but whoever they use to manufacture it does a good job. The vinyls sound great. I've put on some before and been like, "The hell is this?" You know, like
right.
The mix so it's the best anyway either. So forget the vinyl mix.
We want to be the Kiss of merchandise, you know, for metal bands. So We actually have some cool stuff actually coming out. We can't talk about yet, but I actually just finished up the meeting for it yesterday. With it's going to be something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we have wine. We have everything that we like. So we just want to slap our name on.
There you go. So absolutely, you're. I'm assuming you're changing your last name to Simmons, then Jake Simmons from now on.
It's your new
Isn't
nickname.
that the name of his kid? Isn't that his? No, Nick.
Simmons.
Oh yeah. I was like, yeah, Jake Simmons. We'll take that.
Yeah, but
trademarked it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Simmons trademark.
In the next 30
Every
seconds,
name
that'll be
plus
gone.
Simmons. Yeah. Like he's got like an auto generator for every name plus Simmons that like he went in and trademarked all of them.
Right. The second it's mentioned on the internet, whether it's written or whether it's, live streamed in this case, it's automatically registered within 30 seconds. So he's getting a prompt.
Yeah, well, this stream right here is probably going to get canceled.
Gonna try and monetize it.
There you go. What's the what's the kind of, I don't want to say weirdest, but the biggest surprise out of what you've been able to do from, say, a vinyl standpoint or from any other piece of merch that Century Media has helped you guys out with? Is there one thing that kind of sticks out where it was something like you guys are like, there's no way they're going to let us do this, and then they're like, okay, we can do it?
No, I mean, they only do the vinyl and
Okay.
the CDs. Everything else is done in-house here in my playground.
I was pretty surprised for Prelude, being that was technically our first release with them. They reissued Nocturnes over in Europe, but they let us do a double vinyl. So I was kind of surprised about that, but nothing like really. I mean, it's not like we have like porn like in our album covers or anything like that. I was like, wow, they let us do that. It's pretty standard though for the most part. But yeah, the double vinyl at first kind of caught me off guard, but which is really cool. It's.
I don't think they could fit it on a single vinyl.
Yeah, no.
Well, I have certain vinyls that are done in 45, for example. So there's only like 2 songs per vinyl.
Yeah.
So just imagine, and they all blew away, just one side of a vinyl.
It's gonna be the next EP, and all blew away.
I think it is one side of the. Well, no, it's that, and then the boss.
There's one other song.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it is a double. It is a double, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's cool. Well, that's still cool. The other thing too that I want to get into some of the songs here. One thing that I always bitch about is bands covering songs that you hear on the radio all the time. And of course, I see you guys are covering Boston. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I listen to the song and I'm like, it works. It makes sense. The last thing that I hate is hearing a band cover a song that you've already heard on the radio like 50 million times, and then they covered identical to the original. It's like, what's the point? Because no one's going to play it. But yet, the way that you guys approach this song, if you didn't know that Boston song existed, hey, it's another song that Witherfall has just put together. For a younger fan. Go ahead, Joseph.
No, that's totally happened. At least like 3 or 4 interviewers, especially like that aren't American, they had no idea that it was a Boston song. They were like, I don't get like why they wrote this little quiet piece to end the record. And then it's because it says acoustic version. They're like, this must have been on like an earlier Witherfall record because this is the acoustic version. I wonder what the original sounded like.
Yeah, it was part of their '76 release. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, when we wanted to do that song, I've always thought that I love that song too. I think Joseph and I are huge Boston fans in general. And like you were saying too, on American rock radio, you can hear that song every hour, Yeah. But when we tried doing it, like we were gonna kind of do it actually in the way that you would have despised us for, and it just didn't like when we were doing it, it was like it's too upbeat, you know, the musical arrangement to it. Joseph's gonna go into the lyrics, I'm sure, in a second, but the musical arrangement just wasn't working, so we almost abandoned the idea, and we were kind of just like, what if we did this kind of like the way that we did the Tom Petty song, which is another one that you hear every single day on the radio, I Won't Back Down. Right. And let's like mess with the harmonic arrangement to it, and let's do the relative minor to these major chords that are going on. And then it fell into place that way, and we were like, shit, that was right under our nose the entire time.
Right.
So it was, but it almost we almost threw it out, and we were going to do a super popular Springsteen song. So we were still going to do super popular songs. I mean, that's one thing though too, is sometimes like when I see these bands covering songs that are super obscure by bands, it's almost like in a way like, what's kind of the point, you know? Because it's not, unless they just ran out of songs to write and they had to fill up an album, you know? It's cool though, unless you're like super diehard fan of the band that they're covering, everyone's just going to be like, oh, this is a cool tune. Who is this, you know? From a marketing perspective, I think doing a song that people kind of know.
Whoa. Jake cut out there.
Oh my God.
Well, let's see if he hops back in.
I think he so this thing is live, right?
There he goes. Yeah, it's live. And then what essentially happens is I repackage it in the audio format, so it'll be up on YouTube for people to watch, and they'll be able to listen to the replay and audio version. Same thing.
It's not live on YouTube.
It is live on YouTube right now.
Oh, it says it's waiting.
Huh. It should be live. Unless
Gene Simmons, dude. Gene Simmons.
There you go.
He's stopping all of our.
Holy fuck.
Theoretically, this should be live on Twitch, Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here, and it's because I was gonna see if anyone was commenting live on your YouTube.
Twitch, Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube. Yeah, it's live on YouTube. I just opened it up.
No, that's not YouTube, Jake.
Oh no, yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, these are people commenting from YouTube actually, because there's a YouTube icon next to it.
Send out two
live on Facebook.
Yeah, one on Facebook now.
You know what it is? There's another video that says waiting on your YouTube channel. It doubled it. That happened to us when we were doing Zoom. Now I see
actually, because there's a YouTube icon next to it.
Yep. There you are.
Send out live on Facebook.
Yeah, one on Facebook now.
You know what it is? There's another video that says waiting on your YouTube. Oh my God! See, found it.
I feel like I'm doing drugs right now. What the hell's going on? Like I just
totally fucking doing drugs
I heard.
Right now.
Last thing about the cover track with both of the covers that you brought up. How do you guys pick a cover? Does it just kind of come up when you guys are writing or recording the songs, or do you guys already have it all fleshed out before you guys even, put the final touches on the original tracks?
It's a lot of alcohol, man. A lot of fucking alcohol at like 4 a.m. when we're like tired of working on our own music. Like that's when like a lot of these cover songs get, fucked with.
Yeah, for example, like the Tom Petty one, we were working on Shadows at Joseph's studio. It was like 4 a.m, and Joseph and I just love music, so we'll just sit around with acoustic guitars and just play on, just jam out like you would like a beach bar band or some shit. And we were doing I Won't Back Down, and then we're just like, what if we made it like super sad? And with that sort of that harmony that's on there, it's super ambiguous. So we used a little bit of our theory knowledge and just made them all basically 9 chords. That way the melody wouldn't really have to change at all. And it worked. So that one we just fell into. With the Boston tune, we had kind of talked more about it. We were kind of like, what songs do we need to cover? And I think that one came up, and we were right about it. But it's not really a big discussion. Like with Joseph and I, it's pretty much just like we can kind of tell like between the other one if we're into it or not. Like if there's an ABBA tune that comes up. Actually, that was mentioned that one day in the fucking Uber, and that chick almost got killed on Sunset. We were.
Oh yeah.
That was a sign from Adam Sagan not to do an ABBA song.
So that was actually contemplated then.
No, for 2 seconds. I think I
2 seconds. Like, there you go.
Check out this melody, and Joseph's like, "Yeah, fuck no."
Well, one of the things that kind of, I don't know, catches me off guard when I was reading some of the reviews that people had written about this album, it just seems like it's so easy to say, "Oh well, it sounds like Iced Earth. It sounds like Nevermore." Okay, let's make the connection, to all the other bands that you guys are remotely connected to, and let's say that this sounds like that instead of actually like looking at it for its own merit. I mean, let's be honest, nothing is 100% original, but okay, Sanctuary, Nevermore, they're one led into the other, so obviously it sounds like that.
Those people aren't listening, man.
Yeah, they're not listening.
They just,
it's annoying.
Yeah, they're not listening. And once I see that on there, I'm like, you haven't listened to the record, or your ears are broken, because they don't. I mean, just because it's just name association, and it's
right.
Someone that I think just wants to like. I don't understand why people have to always compare shit too. It's weird.
Right.
It's like, why Witherfall's its own thing, and it doesn't sound like any of those bands. And yeah, I mean, I guess there's elements, but if you put on a Sanctuary song or an Iced Earth song and then a Witherfall song, you're gonna be like, these all three sound like three completely different bands. So it's kind of frustrating in a way. It's just like almost you don't want to be like, don't even put any names on it,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like how like Rolling Stones and Aerosmith used to get compared a lot during the time period. But listening back now, I'm like, they sound nothing like each other. I mean, outside of like, there's some blues riffs. I mean, like sonically, especially the vocals, it's like, what are you hearing? I mean,
yeah, there was. I mean, you can certainly hear influence. Certainly, influence with. Yeah.
It's rock music with guitars. I mean, it's
right.
Of course, there's an influence. I mean, like.
But it'd be different. It'd be like if, going back to the Kiss reference, if someone was reviewing a Kiss record and they saw Paul Stanley doing his Soul Station, which is like his funk band or like classic R&B, and they're like, yeah, it sounds a little bit like Kiss's Dynasty record. It's like, no, just because it's Paul Stanley doesn't mean it sounds like Kiss,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it's just, honestly, I think it's people just kind of being lazy a little bit with it and not really. Otherwise, I mean, they might not like that type of style of music, which is totally fine.
Right.
But I think it's like they just don't really care to go into it and really see it for what it is.
Right.
Jake just pissed off every single reviewer, and then our next record's going to get like 1s and 2s.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the thing that annoyed me when reading some of the things, because to me, I listened to the album, to Curse of Autumn, and I was like, wow, there's definitely a progression, especially with like incorporation of melodies and some of the chorus structures and just how some of the songs are laid out. It's definitely different from each of the last few releases. And instantly, the first reviewer that I read, just to see what people's comments are, it's obvious that John Schaefer produced this album. I'm like, what?
No, the thing is, like, Knocked was pretty experimental, and we were just kind of feeling our way around like songs and writing, and then Prelude to Sorrow was really just like this crazy, like modern Pink Floydian like rock opera about our dead drummer. So like, of course there's going to be all this like crazy soundscapey things and weird segues in between songs and, like 13-minute songs that have these like interludes that take you into like, weird, cavernous places, because it's a set piece. They're all set pieces.
Right.
Like this record is it has a theme, but it's more straight ahead. So we weren't really like, we weren't really trying to tie together any sort of narrative on this. We were just writing songs. So of course it's going to be, a little more straightforward. I mean, there's certainly set pieces on this record, like the title track, but I don't know, like I don't think John had anything to do at all with I mean, he didn't have anything to do at all with the writing and the sound of the record.
Yeah.
I mean, John didn't mix the record,
Right.
I mean, it was. I mean, if you look at it though, yeah, it's gonna sound sonically like Iced Earth. You have John Schaefer, Jim Morris, and Tom Morris. I mean, that was the classic Iced Earth sound for those classic records. So it's inevitable. It's gonna sound like that. And I like that sound. I mean, I think it sounds really heavy for it. But just because something sounds like that sonically doesn't mean. I mean, the songwriting and all that stuff. I mean, it's way different, and and that I think is where it actually like comes more into play on the compositions of how more than like something sonically sounds like that. I mean, holy shit, with the records now, because of how bands just use the same drum kit sound and all that stuff, you could say every band sounds like this other band, if you're talking about it from a sonic and production standpoint.
I think we have
yeah, we have. So maybe we're the assholes too. Actually, I guarantee you we are.
Yeah, that's a good point, because as being a wannabe drummer and somebody that has toyed around with Superior Drummer 2 and 3, when you start to listen to different albums, you're like, all right, Superior Drummer. The cymbals always give it away to me. And it's funny because a lot of people will sit there and bitch about different technological aspects of recording. Well, it's obvious they use triggers and they did this and they did that. And it's like, no, a lot of times it isn't that obvious unless you really know what you're talking about or your ear is really attuned to what acoustic instruments sound like. Also, if someone is recording those tracks, if you're using a trigger or not on a drum set, if someone is physically playing, one kind of doesn't have anything to do with the other. I hear people say all the time, "Oh, well, he was cheating. He was using triggers on stage." For example, when I saw you with White Wizard, Giovanni was using triggers. Or he was using a click track. I forget which of the two. He had a laptop or whatever. Anyway, but regardless,
he was checking his dates on social media.
That I wouldn't
do with the show.
But there's a lot of people like that aren't, and I'm a fan who's played instruments and just so happens to do a podcast. I can't put myself in a category like you guys to know all the ins and outs, because you guys have been in the studios, you guys have been in bands and whatnot, and you have, like armchair quarterbacks, like sitting back and again, well, it obviously sounds like so-and-so worked on it, or this person influenced it, where, what have you released to actually come out with to be able to deduce that,
Yeah, I mean, if we didn't put John's name on it, like, is anyone really gonna like just out of the blue go, I think John Schaefer had a hand in this record? Like, nobody's gonna fucking do that.
And because it's a hot topic right now, and if it wasn't for that, no one would have given a fuck. Yeah. Let's be honest.
I mean, that's not to like discount anything John did, contribute. He definitely did. But I think it's actually doing him a disservice to say that it sounds like Iced Earth, because it most definitely doesn't sound like Iced Earth at all. And I think that's to his credit too, that he was able to, in that producer role, just give the band, what it wanted in its sound. So I don't know. John's probably, when he comes out, John will probably be pissed about all those fucking references.
No, I mean, I think that's true. I mean, it shows diversity on his stuff. He could have easily just been like, all right, guys, here's Burning Times, but redone in A, and do that, and right. We're going to plug up to a Larry, and I know to make an Iced Earth record, we're going to do that. No, he didn't do that at all. He knew our sound, and to his credit, he went and did a lot of research and really listened to us and did, you know, a really good job in that producer's role. And we used him more as a producer for getting the best performances out of Joseph and I. Because during the pandemic, Joseph and I had to produce Marco Miniman in Los Angeles because
Right.
during that time it was, you know, with flights and all that stuff, no one really wanted to travel or no one could travel. So
Right.
we're like, we have to get this shit done. And so we used an engineer named Bradley Cook, who worked with like Slash and who else? I always forget his credits. They're fucking huge though. Foo Fighters, right?
Yeah, Foo Fighters, Chris
Anyways,
Cornell.
yeah, he did some. Yeah, and so it was Joseph and I doing that with Marco, and that was a really fun time. That was an amazing time in the studio. And then but with John, he was there, and he'd call us pussy, you know. He's like, "You call that a 16th note run right there? Come on," you know. And and we had a lot of fun, man. And he pushed us. I wouldn't say, I mean, he pushed us because he knew like what we could get, you know, and he knew
Right.
the sound. And yeah, I mean, we loved it. That's what we hired him for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
John's
And
passionate.
no doubt.
Jesus.
You
Walk
bring up
right
you bring up Marco, who's obviously a world-renowned drummer. What did he bring to the picture outside of obviously his like world-class drumming? Was there anything that he added to this album that, you know, you guys weren't expecting when you brought him on board?
And nothing I wasn't expecting. I mean, that's why we hired him.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's one of the most musical drummers, and I mean, outside of just his the instrument he's most known for, I mean, he's just a world-class musician, and I mean, like a total professional. I mean, we did those drum tracks in like 2 days,
Oh wow.
like 2 sessions. Yeah, and that's like almost cold. I think he had like maybe 2 weeks to listen to our demos.
Mm-hmm.
That and being the fact that he is fucking hilarious and way more German than I pictured him, like watching his videos online.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, no, I think like there was nothing really. I think it would have been something more, I guess, surprising if he would have just went in there and just fucked everything up. But we knew he was going to go in there and kill it. I mean, like he, like again, like on All Blew Away, the prog section there, he did that in like one take, and then it was like, you know, it's got tons of odd time. It has tempo changes. He did it in one take, like 3 minutes of music, the most complex part of the record. And then Joseph and I were like, "That's it, we got it." He's like, "I can give you like 15 different versions of that because this is my bread and butter, you know, all that odd time stuff." I think he walks around in like 11/8. You know, that's what his tempo, that's what his heartbeat is, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And like Lewis was saying too, his stories are hilarious, but that's for another night.
Okay. The other thing too was you guys started releasing songs before the album came out. And historically, you know, I see bands start to release, you know, 2 singles, 3 singles, 4 singles, and it's like, oh shit, you know, is this going to be a case where they're giving us the money shot right away? This is what's going to get people to buy the album, and then the rest of the album is nowhere near as good as what you guys are releasing. My question to you is this: what made you guys decide to release so many things before the album was? There's so many songs before the album was even released. Was that a conscious effort? Was that the label? Who was behind that idea?
That's the modern way to release albums, and we definitely wanted to start, you know, treating ourselves like a modern band and not like a throwback band, you know.
Okay.
I mean, we already have, like, a lot of our fans love physical products, so that's never going to change. Like,
right,
you know, we have great artwork. You know, we release a lot of vinyl. So people that want that are going to get it no matter what.
Right.
That's not going to change because they heard the singles. They're going to want the physical product because
Right.
that's what they do. They collect. So, the modern paradigm of music consumption has a lot to do with, these technologies, like these algorithms that are on Spotify and YouTube. And that was just a conscious effort and a decision made between me, Jake, and the label that we were going to embrace the like modern pop aesthetic. Like, let's do like a waterfall campaign and we'll drip it in. So like, instead of just two single releases and then you have the one album release, we have song after song. Every month is another song, and it just pumping the algorithms, and it worked really well. I mean, we've never been a band that has like really ridiculous streaming numbers because we're not a specialized band. So like if a death metal band comes out, with a record, their songs are going to be on all the death metal playlists. Right. Or like a power metal band, like a straight up power metal band, like, Stratovarius or something. They're going to get on every power metal playlist. But we're a horse of a different color, we can't really be put into a box. So, that type of thing, it needs a lot of work on the back end to try and figure out how to market it digitally. I think it's worked out really well. We're going to catch up to our highest streaming album before like a month.
Oh wow,
of this record being so like Prelude was out 2 years ago, and we're gonna catch up within a month to those streaming numbers. So it's paid off, and I think a lot of bands are gonna end up doing it this way from now on.
So and that makes complete sense. I mean, what you said was right on the money. The typical thing: 2 songs, the album comes out, but you guys kept putting stuff out, and if algorithms and statistics are showing that this works in other genres or just music in general, or entertainment in general, why not use it to your advantage? That makes complete sense.
I mean, we have even more coming.
Yeah.
Too. We have 3 more videos.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, cool.
And that goes back to what you were talking about too, is like, blowing your load with like, 2 songs that are the best on the record.
Yeah.
Why would you put shitty songs on your record? Like if you didn't think they were all strong, they should be left, on the piece of paper. So I think that's maybe one of the things too. And yeah, I mean, it's the times are changing and shit like that. And like Joseph was saying too about the Spotify stuff, it's difficult with the playlist. I mean, we just had a review of a guy that actually did listen to the record, and he's like, these guys were able, for the song Tempest, he said these guys were somehow able to incorporate black metal emperor type stuff into a Dream Theater type section, all in the same song. And it's like, how the hell prog black metal with hints of 70s influence playlist? I don't know if that one exists. I subscribe to it though. Sounds pretty cool. But yeah, it's gonna always be an uphill battle for us, I think, with that.
Yeah, to Joseph's point before, I mean, you guys definitely aren't a one-trick pony where, unfortunately, a lot of maybe fans or playlist builders, as you guys are saying, every song has to fit a specific category or specific niche, as opposed to just taking something for what it is. To me, personally, I listen to all types of music, so it's either good or bad. Doesn't matter, what subgenre or whatnot. Does your album have to be just straight up power metal? Does it have to be prog? And that's one of the things I saw. Well, it isn't as prog as their original releases. Well, does it have to be? It just doesn't. I don't know. It just seems like there's so many rules now for an art form that was built on rebellion and going against establishments and rules. We've got so many rules surrounding metal music today, which, I don't know, it just seems like a detractor to me, instead of just sitting back and enjoying what you guys are doing.
The sad thing
that's our,
they're self-inflicted rules. It's not like there's like some magistrate of heavy metal out there like that comes into your fucking band rehearsal and like, you know, puts a hole in your snare drum like you break a rule.
Right.
It's like spineless musicians or talentless, I don't know, whichever one you want to pick, that, you know, they don't take any chances or they're unable to, like, musically. Anyway, that's probably going to get me later.
Well, I mean, that goes to that goes to like what when we first formed Witherfall. We had a band that had no rules to it when it came to songwriting. I mean, we love Boston and we love, you know, our genres and influences are all over the board. And I mean, even when you start getting the guys that play on the record, like Anthony Crawford comes from an R&B and gospel background. You know, it's like it adds to this whole sound. And it's like you can't just have everybody that's like, fuck yeah, Pantera. You know, I love that. That's a criteria band. It's like, no, man, there's already enough of those bands. And like you said, too, it's like it gets stale after a while. And I prefer records, too, that take you on a musical journey. Like, you know, you could have songs that dip down. If it's just like, you know, 220 BPMs for an hour, that's going to annoy me more than anything, you know, and it's going to get stale and boring after a while. It should totally go through all sorts of different moods. I mean, it's like watching a movie, you know, if you watch some movie, it's just action all the way through, you're going to get bored. Or if you watch something where it's a guy sitting in a cell for, well, it's a little too personal, actually. So I won't go there.
It's like Shawshank Redemption.
That's a great film.
Yeah.
You mentioned the videos. That was one of my other questions. If we were going to see videos for every track off of the album. So we've seen 5 already, and you're saying that there's going to be 3 more. Can you say what 3 additional tracks are going to be made into videos? Because it's 15 tracks total, isn't it?
No,
or am I screwing that up?
It's like 11. There's like versions of
right.
That's shortened version, but it's like 11 separate, distinct songs. Yeah, I mean everything but the intro, for The Last Scar, and we're not sure if Curse of Autumn is going to get its own like little visual treatment. We may or may not do something for that, but everything else is going to have its own video.
So you could have gone into like SOD MOD territory there and done a 52-second video for the intro.
I mean, we still can. I mean, it could be fucking Jake sitting there staring at the camera drinking wine. You know.
There you go. Product promotion. Jake Simmons selling the Witherfall wine. The video will last online a total of 45 seconds before the copyright infringement comes up.
Not a bad idea. Like, we should just have the wine bottle sitting there, like, just static with the fucking song playing. There you go.
There you go.
Take that. Link back to the fucking winery. Eric will be happy.
Well, I see, Jake, you're talking, but I don't hear anything. Still don't hear anything. As far as, hopefully, let's see if it comes back. It tells me that your internet's like cutting in and out on my end, but the bars keep going up and down. I don't know if it's that, but
got a signal. Jake, close all your porn fucking browser tabs.
Now's the time. As far as obviously with COVID, you guys have already mentioned what a challenge it was to record. Obviously, we're 3 months into 2021. What does the balance of the year hold for the band? I mean, did you guys have like long plans? I mean, obviously, we're a year into this now. So obviously, the recording of the album was what you guys had in mind, but did you have like a long, elaborate plan of what you guys wanted to do if this wouldn't have gone on?
Yeah, I mean, the record was supposed to come out in November.
Okay.
Hence, one for the title, Curse of Autumn. and we had the tour with Evergrey was supposed to happen in like February, I think. So I mean, that's really it. We just got pushed up a couple months with the release, and the tour got pushed up. But we did everything that was in our agenda and more. Actually, I mean, we really took advantage of what most people would consider downtime. I think we've actually worked more than we've
Right.
ever worked. Just figuring out ways to promote, here in the office, or doing all those videos, like figuring out the technology behind all these services, and trying to push the band further. Actually, Jake and I just got together a couple weeks ago and started work on another record. So,
Oh wow.
we're not sitting here idle at all.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you hear so many bands that are still talking about how, obviously COVID's affected everyone, regardless what you do or whatnot. But I mean, it's cool to hear that you guys aren't just sitting back, just waiting for things to happen. You guys are being proactive and just, doing your shit and trying to make sure that the band keeps getting out there, and that you guys keep doing what you're doing. I mean, is it foolish for me to say that, at this point in time, you guys are really making an effort to make anyone that had said that this was a side project forget about that terminology when it comes to the band?
Well, I mean, this was never a side project. This was always our main project. Just because we are in bigger bands doesn't mean that this was a side project.
Okay.
Can you hear me now, guys?
Can hear you now.
Fucking Gene Simmons, man. He's fucking canceling me every second.
He's already silenced you.
Yeah.
So is okay. So you guys are already going to be working on more music. Obviously, 3 more videos to go. The ETA for the rest of the year, the layout for all that stuff. Do you guys have any sort of schedule for when the videos are coming out, when that additional music is coming out?
We're actually in meetings about that next week. We may or may not have something coming out pretty soon.
Okay.
For one of the tracks. And actually, what I was saying before Gene interrupted me was that we have a video coming out that's actually not on the US or the European version. It's the full version of Long Time Foreplay at the beginning of it. So it's our version of that, which is gonna be very cool. It's got Marco Miniman and it's a full band performance of it. So that's gonna be cool. But no, we don't have anything. It's coming soon. That's all we can say.
Nothing's set in stone then. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's
the Evergrey tour.
Yeah, it's that's the whole thing, is just trying to basically try to get it where it's a weird time. So we can't tour, but we have to figure out some way to keep the name out there.
Yeah. As far as that tour is concerned, I mean, at what point in time do promoters come to you guys and give you guys like a drop dead date where they tell you, well, this can't happen?
Hopefully not when we're on the bus outside of their venue.
Yeah, $40,000 in debt.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, my mother just popped into the chat.
Hi, Paula.
We'll throw that up on the screen for everyone to see.
Oh, Jesus.
There you go.
Yeah, Mom, I'm drinking and swearing, and I'm getting paid for it. Isn't that awesome?
Cool.
I hope it's everything you ever wanted.
Well, at least Gene Simmons hasn't interrupted you yet, so you're still on a good course.
Hey, Gene Simmons is afraid of me. That's why.
There you go.
Actually, I've met Gene I was on tour with Gene, and he was actually a very, very cool guy.
Okay.
Paul wouldn't talk to me at all.
Okay.
That's because you did.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that because there was a because I mean, I've heard this from opening acts where they're not allowed to, talk to certain people in other bands or even look at other people in other bands. Was it some type of a stipulation like that, or?
No, I think Paul just saw me as a peasant and didn't want to acknowledge my presence. I mean, he's Paul Stanley. He's allowed to do that in my eyes, you know.
He didn't know you were going to be using all this product placement. He's now going to claim also that he taught you how to product place all the wine and everything else, not Gene. So maybe it's going to be Jake Stanley.
Actually, the best video of all time is when Paul and Gene get in a fight during an interview. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, that's
actually
maybe my favorite.
If Paul Stanley's listening, we'll send him a bottle of wine.
Yeah, Paul. Paul likes to drink.
He's actually an avid. He's an avid watcher of the live stream. He chats with us all the time, so I'm sure he'll respond. Yeah.
Cool. What's up, Paul?
No, I love that part in the book where he's like, "That was Gene's idea for us not to drink. I liked a glass of wine on occasion."
That's the best. That is one of the best works of literature ever. And actually, the audio version when Paul's reading it, is amazing. That guy does not hold back. I love that book. Yeah,
that's instead of beats per minute, it's throwing people under the bus per minute is what that is.
Yeah.
That is.
I mean, even Eric Carr, he thought he was a redneck because he decided to get his Mazda, in a camouflage or whatever it was, Bugatti, I don't know, Lamborghini, I don't know, whatever it was, but yeah, that's an amazing book.
Yeah. So that will be. Will you be coming out with a book talking about all of your marketing strategies now?
Our book will be about 5 chapters or 5 series already. We have stories.
You've got plenty, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We already this last 2 months, like
2021.
Yeah.
2021, a Witherfall Odyssey.
There you go. Where do you want people to go to keep in touch with you guys?
Our website, because it has the store, and just like Gene Simmons, we want you to buy everything in it.
Yeah, please buy our product. Drink the wine, get hammered, and then just buy more shit and deal with it later. We'll sign it at a show.
Yeah, dispute the credit card. Doesn't matter. Just buy it. As long as it reports the SoundScan. I don't care.
Now the feds are really going to be listening to credit card fraud. Great.
So it is Witherfall.com. As you guys see, they've got the 5 videos here, the playlist of the album, and like I mentioned before, and I hope that people can see it this week. Last week, apparently, this didn't appear. But you guys have to say a shitload. He's kind of putting it mildly, all these packages.
That's 1% of the merch. You should go to the actual merch page. Like, so there's a button on the bottom.
All right, let's see. Oh shit. Yeah. Okay.
So that's not even the website. Now go to the merch section.
Wow.
I dare you to scroll all the way down.
But like I mentioned before, I mean, you guys are doing what you can to keep your stuff out there, whereas other people just are not. There's how many other bands are, and this isn't me blowing smoke up you guys' asses. This is me saying that I don't go to other people's websites and see all of this, all of their releases, and you're lucky to have like 1 or 2 current pictures. Nonetheless, this massive merch section.
I mean, merch is what it's great. It's free advertisement for us, people are walking around with it, and if it looks cool. Actually, my favorite shirt, I think, on there, the Curse of Autumn hoodies are great, but the vintage T-shirt looks amazing. Yeah, you can see it across an arena. I mean, we on the merch booth, we played. I I forgot where, somewhere in Germany, some festival, and like peeked out from the backstage area, and I was like, that's the vintage one right there. You can see it across the room.
Cool.
Yeah,
I
did a really good job with that.
Like, when you like say like when you started playing guitar and started getting into bands, whether it was like, the Metallica Metal Up Your Ass shirt or Ride the Lightning shirt or any of the Maiden stuff or whatever it was, like that was part of the magic of like being a fan of music was like all the like cool artwork and, like you couldn't wait, like, especially if you're a kid and you don't have much money and then, like you get $20 and you can order one of the fucking shirts from one of those mail order sites,
Right.
Like I think when guys get into bands, like they don't really think about that. Like part of your band is the merch. Like that's part of the package. Like that's what gets people excited. And I mean, like if you really care about your fans, you should definitely put together some really cool stuff for them to wear.
Yeah, I agree. There was this is something that I was actually talking about another podcast last week. How for some reason over the years the whole not wearing your own merch and not wearing merch to shows, and again all these guidelines and rules that have come up, and my response was, well, who's the first one to go up to Steve Harris and say you can't wear your own merch on stage? It's just kind of asinine. I mean, you should just do what you want. If you want to wear your merch, cool. If you don't, then don't wear it. But I mean, who's going to be a better salesperson for your own brand than you guys? So that kind of makes sense that you wouldn't try to showcase it or get it out there like you guys have done on the website.
Well, man, I think this comes all the way around where Witherfall doesn't like rules. So we break our rules, and there's too many rules in metal right now. I mean, you can't wear your own shirt. Like the whole thing was, this is all supposed to be about rebellion. Like, like there's all these rules to, you have to do this, you have to promote it like that. And it's just like, you know what? Fuck off. Listen to our records. If you don't like it, don't listen. Like keep your opinions to yourself. It's the problem with like the internet.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just dumb, man. I mean, there's just listening to music. It's just crazy that like people have rules from metal. It's and they do. I mean, you go online and there's these forums and all this stuff, and these people that basically have these guidelines of what you're supposed to do to be a metalhead in 2021. It's like that's the most unmetal thing you can do, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. I had Michael Kiske of Halloween once tell me, for a form of music that was built on rebellion and rebelled against like the church and the Bible and stuff like that. He said, we have more rules than the Bible does right now. So,
yeah,
it just,
I think though in the Bible, you're allowed to have sex with slaves. So maybe people need to reread that thing.
There you go. That is the New Testament as per Joseph Michael. So
it's going on a shirt eventually.
Yep.
There you go. And that one you wouldn't have to run by either Mr. Simmons or Mr. Stanley. So
oh my God. I think they'll distance themselves from that piece of merchandise.
Yeah. I don't know. Do they look good with zebra pumas though? You got to think about that.
Well, man, I think we got to jump to another interview right now. Actually,
yeah. Really? Oh yeah, shit. We're up to the hour. I apologize. Didn't realize that.
No, dude, this was fun, man. Hey, it was nice talking to you again, Victor.
Yeah, absolutely. So, everyone, I want to thank you guys, Jake and Joseph, for coming on, talking about Witherfall for the last hour. And much luck, guys. For anyone that's checking this out live or the recorded version, I completely enjoy the album, and I pursued these guys to do the interview. So most people have shit thrown at them all the time. I wanted to make sure that I interviewed you guys because I want to make sure that people know about the album and know what to expect from you guys. And definitely, as of March, again, not blowing smoke up you guys' asses, I think it's one of the most solid releases this year so far. So,
thank you, Victor. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
All
right, guys.
Hit us up on the DMs after we're off.
All right. Awesome. All right.
Cool.
Thanks for your time, guys.
Take care, Victor.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.
There we go. Joseph, Michael, and Jake from Witherfall. Awesome. Talking with them. I want to send shout outs to some of the regulars on here. Obviously, we have Jose up in Connecticut, Jeremy in the UK. We have Brad Dahl over in Utah. Mike Jones checking in, more of the Patreon faithful. We had Paula, who's been revealed as Joseph's mom. Hi, Mom. Thanks for joining us. Let's see. We have Savage Hawk, who joined us, who mentioned, let's see. On this day, we were gifted with Steve Harris, and we all know it was good. Absolutely. Again, the master of merch. I mean, if you think about it, Maiden, Kiss, how many of these bands have just had, as Joseph pointed out, shirts and just different things that you wanted to get, whether you were a kid or you were a grown up, now they have like retro shirts that call back to some of the great things that we all bought as kids. So let's see. John Cashin says, let's see. They send reminders. This is talking about the merch. They send reminders to customers to buy stuff. It works. I did the pre-order for Curse because of it. See? And he goes on to say, I bought last year's wine. Excuse me. I like the music, so if a few bucks keeps help them making more, it's worth it. Absolutely. I agree 100%. Let's see. Savage Hawk, who joined us for the first time. Not a wine drinker, but I can honestly say I am drinking a Trooper right now. Awesome. Jeremy up in Manchester saying, great album, guys. I concur. I listened to it quite a few times today, and Jeremy knows, and all my patrons who keep up with what I do on Patreon. Quick plug here, Patreon.com/Mars Attacks Podcast. $2 a month gets you an additional podcast that I do. Plus, I'm posting between 2 to sometimes 6 videos a day on there and getting people's comments, the patrons' comments. So we're building a playlist based on what people like. And I'm trying to fit in all types of metal. And there's stuff on there that I don't like. But if the patrons like it, it's going in the playlist. I believe in promoting new music. Nothing wrong with old acts or whatever. I love old acts as well. I love promoting their new music as well. But 2021, I love talking about good music. There's always new good music out there. There's always something you can find to listen to, and it may not be a full album. Maybe it's 3-4 tracks. This Witherfall album, again, it doesn't fit in a nice, neat little box to say, oh, well, it isn't progressive enough. There were certain spots in this song where there was too much of an anthemic chorus for this to be pure. And it's like, are you serious? Come on. If that's really your holdup, there's like a million things out there to listen to. Literally. I have people that come up to me and say, what do you think the worst song or the worst album of this year has been so far? And it's like, I don't know. There's too much stuff that I enjoy to actually focus on something that I think really sucks. All right, if there's something that egregiously is terrible, then all right, fine. I get it. It may stick out. But all of the Witherfall tracks that have come out, they have all gone up on Patreon. And everyone has commented on them. I've been listening to all 5 of those leading singles before the album was released. And like I said, historically, you see a band do that, and it's kind of because those are the stronger tracks on the album. That isn't the case with Curse of Autumn. I keep looking at my notes here because I don't want to mess up the name of the album. And like I said, I pursued the band. Once I saw that there was like an opening, I'm like, boom, I'm going in, because I've been following them and I've wanted to talk to them over the last few years. And once I started hearing these tracks, and we have the metal dentist joining us. Hello, sir. I see you humming in the chat. There are different reasons why there are tracks off of this album that really like just gave me like an oh shit moment. We've cursed enough that I could say oh shit, because I'm going to be penalized by YouTube anyway. So there you go. Yeah, surprisingly enough, if you curse, they demonetize your video. Not that I was going to be making money off of it, but The Last Scar is the first song that I heard. I have the melody from that chorus in my head playing right now. I've had it for like the last week, where I was hyping myself up for this interview. And As I Lie Awake has called, it jumped out at me for a different reason, because it has a chord progression which is very similar to back in my, wanting to be in a band phase, when the metal dentist and I were in a band. A late friend of ours, the last thing that I ever toyed around with him, the notes are the same, but the progression is different from As I Lie Awake, which is why, there's only so much original stuff you can record, or write, I should say. So that when I heard it, I'm like, whoa, those notes were so familiar. It was like, it was calling to me like instantly. And it was, in my head instantly, as much as like any of the melodies. So Mike Jones is saying that everything I've heard is killer. Yeah. And like I said, I put it on today. The album did drop, and the album came out last week. But I wanted to make sure that, I'd listened to it enough to know what I was talking to the band about. And, you may even say, yeah, you still don't know what you're talking about, but I like it. I'm not bullshitting anyone by saying that it's one of the strongest things out there because of everything that goes into it. It just seems like this has been the perfect storm for, at least for my musical taste. And that doesn't mean that the rest of their stuff isn't great. Much like I talked to Monty Pittman last week, there's no reason why you can't enjoy pizza and spaghetti at the same time. It just so happens that this album, to me, kind of puts things over the top for me. And that's great, because each album has been solid since their inception. So anyway, we are roughly around an hour and 10 minutes. I do want to thank everyone for listening. Just want to remind you to subscribe on YouTube, if you will. From there, you guys will receive notification when a new video has been uploaded. I'm uploading the videos on Fridays, and I'm releasing the podcast on Fridays to coincide with the live stream, to kind of remind people that aren't familiar, or maybe it's people that are checking out the show for the first time, and then it isn't that much of a stretch if they're seeing the show notes or they're listening to me talk about the show. They'll hear, Fridays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. in the UK, midnight, Friday going into Saturday for continental Europe. If you're listening to it, and it's one of those things, oh, wow, it's tonight. Maybe I'll check it out tonight, and, I can join in on the chat. I thank you guys for being here. Those that are here week after week, those that are just jumping in for the first time. Again, I appreciate anyone that even watches the replay or happens to, subscribe to the podcast is available on Apple Music. It's available on Google, or you can just go to MarsAttacksRadio.com, and there is an RSS feed that you can input into any one of your favorite podcasting players on your phone, or subscribe to it via your computer, or you could just listen to the episodes right there on MarsAttacksRadio.com. Jose is saying that he's got a weekly Friday reminder on his calendar. Awesome. Thank you, sir. And again, I appreciate you for being here week after week. Let's see. Listening to the podcast from my car to the commute home. The minute I get home, I'm checking their stuff out. Rock on. Yeah, and knowing your musical taste, this is something that's going to be right up your alley. Brad was saying that he will be checking it out as well. Maybe something that could go on Yard Metal at some point in the future. I don't know. Check it out. Let me know what you think, sir. So just wrapping up the show here. Thanks for everyone for joining me tonight. Thanks for anyone that's listening after or watching after. We'll be here next Friday. I'm working on a few things. This was the Witherfall interview was something that came together towards the end of last week and was finally confirmed definitely like 2 days ago. And like all of us, Murphy's Law, life gets in the way, and I wasn't able to really publicize it until earlier today. Jeremy, who I can't thank you enough. You're great with including me on your Twitter with some song selections, but also he sent information out earlier today. If you follow Mars Attacks on Twitter, it's easy to see Jeremy's Twitter as well, because he's linking me constantly with all the stuff, helping promote bands and helping promote everything that I have going on. So I thank you, Jeremy, and I thank all of you guys for being here this week as well. So that is pretty much it for the week. Thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed. And we will see you next time right here on the Signals from Mars live stream, brought to you by the Mars Attacks podcast. See you, folks.